Okay, Anita, we're ready to go. Um, I interviewed you back in 2012 for the magazine about your experience. And one of the things that sticks out in my mind was when you spoke about meeting your father and you talked about you saw the world like a tapestry, I think was how you described it, like little filaments of light connecting us all. And you saw the power of how we are all so connected and interconnected. And you felt in the conversation with your father, you felt this real strong connection. And I just wanted you to talk a bit about when you reflect on the experience from where you are now, what what are the most significant things that stay with you from that experience?
Um, so the most significant things, there's quite a few. One of them was when my father said to me, um, live your life fearlessly. And for me, that's really, really significant because I grew up in an environment where I was extremely fearful of everything, everything from fearing not being good enough, fearing disappointing people. I even feared things like disease. I feared failing. I feared like just about everything. So basically, the choices in my life were made from a place of fearing, from a place of fear. So, so in other words, you you take a job not because it's your calling or because it's something you want to do, but because you fear that a better one won't come along. That sort of thing. You get into a relationship not because you really want to be in that relationship, but because you fear a better one won't come along, or because your biology, your biological clock is running out. So every decision and every choice up to that point was made from a place of fear. And that's how many of us live without even realizing it. I didn't even realize that my life, the culmination of who I was at that point when I crossed over, was based on decisions and choices throughout my life made from a place of fear, a fear of what I didn't want, as opposed to a from a place of joy or love towards what I did want. And so I know that one of the reasons I lived a fear based life was because of my dad. My dad was always very pessimistic, and he always said to me that you have to be careful, and you like even if I was saving money, he wouldn't let me spend it on whatever I want. It would be like, you have to save it for a rainy day. You don't know what the future will bring. It was always fear, doom, and gloom. Um, and but there I was on the other realm, and my dad wanted me to come back, and he wanted me to live my life fearlessly. So it was my dad who made me fearful, and it was my dad. So during my lifetime, it was my dad who caused me to be fearful. And in death, it was my dad who set me free from the fear. So nowadays, that's one of the things that's impacted me the most is, am I doing this out of fear, or am I doing this because I want to do it? And that's the question I ask myself with every decision I make.
That's beautiful, and that led you to this book about sensitivity is the new strong. And it's like a real, I remember once someone describing it to me. They said, I had a time in my life where I became very heightened sensitivity wise. Couldn't watch violent movies. I couldn't, even if someone was talking, like in Ireland people gossip a little bit, that started to affect me. I couldn't take it like I used to. It was like I didn't have a second skin. I was going through a tricky time in my life. And this psychic was helping me at the time. And he said to me, this is a weakness at the moment, but it will become a superpower when you integrate it. He said, because you will start to know what you don't like, what doesn't suit you, and you'll move away from it and you'll conserve your energy more powerfully. And I think that's happened to you in your own life, hasn't it, since the experience? Can you talk about honing your kind of sensitivity as more of a power than a weakness?
That's such a great question. And what that psychic said was so true, because one of the issues that we have in this world, in this culture, is that we see sensitivity as a weakness. And if children are sensitive, like boys, if boys are sensitive, they're told that boys don't cry and you have to man up, and people are generally told don't be so sensitive, you have to grow a thicker skin, you won't survive out in the real world if you're so sensitive, which is really unfortunate. And also, when we use the word strong, when we say, oh, that person's really strong or really brave, or particularly if we say they're really strong, they're a survivor, they're going to make it in the world, what are the traits that we look for in people when we say that? And the kinds of traits that we worship and we look up to are traits like brute force, competitiveness, winning at all costs, ruthlessness. These are considered strengths. And so these are the people that we put into power. And so I often say this is why the world is in the state it's in today, because sensitive people just don't get into power because we think those traits are weak. We don't, and so first of all, we have to change the metrics of what it means to be strong. If we want to change the world, if we want to see a different world, we have to start seeing traits like sensitivity, empathy, compassion, all of these as strengths, not as weaknesses. So when I realized what I said earlier about that I had made all my choices from a place of fear, what happens is that when we are in this state of fear all the time, we are not as in touch with our sensitivity. When you start to become aware that, oh, I can make choices from a place of love, from a place of what I want in life, not from a place of what I don't want. Like, oh, I'm going to do this because I don't want that to happen. Instead of that, it's like, but what do I actually want? Once we start tuning in to what we want, what we desire, what we start to get in touch with who we really are. And then our sensitivity actually opens up to us. You have to be at some level innately sensitive to access that.